Welcome back, Panther fans. I'm David Brown here with Ryan Graham,
Hey, y'all.
Tim Thurber,
Hello.
and this is State of Atlanta. Welcome back, guys. A week off from not of watching Georgia State football. Any good games that came up that you guys watched over the weekend?
I was at the UGA game. That was interesting to say.
Well, they won.
They won. I mean, it wasn't anything exciting. The top team in the country should be asserting their dominance. They didn't do that really. Through half, it was like, what's going on here? But
it didn't
the crowd
seem like
was
they were
flat.
trying all that hard either. So
They weren't. They were kind of lackadaisical about it's just Auburn, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's true.
The crowd wasn't into it. It was weird. Like usually at UGA games, everyone stands and all that, and people were sitting and just golf clapping. It was weird.
Hey.
And Kirby called all the fans out for it, which he should have, because at least they have fans.
I think you missed my setup there, Tim. Were there any other games of notable things?
No, that's it. That's the only one. Other than Vanderbilt, but who cares about that?
What's hilarious is last week I found out that one of my coworkers went to Georgia Southern, and I have stopped speaking to her almost exclusively now. I'm just not talking to her. She's also a Bama fan. What?
Did you block her on Teams or Slack? Just say I can't.
No, we don't do Teams. Oh God, I would quit my job if we did Teams. But I was like heading back to my desk and having a little chit chat with her, and I said something about well, we beat Vandy, and she was like, oh, and like made fun of me for it some, you know. And then today I went into the office and I was like, remember last week when we talked about Vandy and like how it was neat, or how you belittled me for saying we beat them, but you're a Bama fan? And she was like, you just be quiet. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be quiet.
I'm going to follow you around the office all day long. Just
like, I'm pretty sure this is what we're going to talk about.
I'm gonna
Southern fans.
I'm going to carry a goalpost around the office all day long, just following you.
It was kind of funny, though, all the Southern fans trashing us beating Vandy. And then, lo and behold, Vandy beats the number one team in the land, Alabama.
No, I maintain the transitive property of college football only goes one game deep.
Yes.
So all the trash down south can do is say that they're better than Vandy. That's all they got. But we can say we're better than Bama.
But we're not better than Georgia.
We're not better than Georgia because it only goes one deep.
It only goes one deep. It only goes one deep, but we're better than Bama.
Actually, you know what? Going one deep is what they called me in high school.
Hey-o.
Ooh, yeah. 1 inch. 1 inch. Oh.
Hey, one. We'd have to, give it. Don't get too specific.
This is not last fall.
Oh, dang it! Dang it! My bad. No, that was great. It was, and it's great. We had Todd on before that game. Todd, one of our Patreon members, one of our good buds, who went to Vandy for undergrad and then Georgia State for his his master's program and everything. And he just got to live both worlds. He got to watch Georgia State beat Vandy, beat an SEC opponent, and then he gets to go on and watch Vandy beat the number one team in the nation. 40 plus years, over 40 years.
Since before I was alive. So is that like, I want, how often have they played though? Because I know of recently, East does not play West very often, but I know before, like 5 to 6 years ago, it was like every 2 years you played everybody or something, right?
Well, they would have played Vandy every year, wouldn't they?
No, because Bama's in the West and Vandy's in the East, so they would have been on a rotation. But and Bama's cross division rivalry is Tennessee, I think.
Now on this computer, I do have.
Alabama Athletics says they're 6-30-19, and they played in 24, 22, 17, 11, 7, 6, 2.
So they played plenty.
Pretty regular, yeah. I mean, it kind of made me think about like us and App in a way, because App, we haven't beaten them yet. And
not 40 years, Tim. Please don't.
No, I know. That's like I was sitting there thinking about that a little bit during the game, and then also I was just sitting there thinking of like, okay, Vanderbilt is us. How are we going to screw up this game and not win? Like, I was watching the game like we were Vanderbilt, and we would find the stupid way to lose. Which, I mean, let's be honest, they did almost lose a bunch of different ways in that game.
They let them back into it, and they didn't have to.
They played like us.
But Bama never led in that game, right?
No, I don't believe they did.
No.
Yeah,
they were getting close though.
They got within like less than a score, and then Vandy pulled away again.
That's just ridiculous.
I know, awesome. It was great.
They should fire their head coach. He's trash.
Oh, the Vandy one or the Bama?
Bama head coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm trying to hack into a website. Not hacking, but what TV would call hacking. So I can figure out the history of.
To do what TV calls hacking, you need 2 keyboards.
Oh well.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it didn't work. All right, a lot of colleges use the exact same platform for their website, and there's a way to see game history, but they didn't have it turned on their site. I thought I could put in the URL and fix it and get there. It didn't happen. Anyhow, irrelevant. We can move on to Georgia State now. Awesome win over Vandy. Good. They had an awesome win over Bama. That's awesome. We'll wear that flag for a while.
Nice recap.
There we go. All right. Coming off a bye week. Hopefully McGee's figured out what went wrong.
It was everything. It was all the things.
So that was pretty easy. Pretty easy. Everything went wrong.
Yeah. Pretty easy to put your finger on. It was everything. Was not quite good enough. Yep.
You know, he made some comments about the mindset of the guys not being there and just not being amped up or whatever.
Came out flat, right? Is what he said. We were flat.
But that's coaching. That's literally coaching, right?
You had a week to beat out the win against Vandy and get them refocused on just another game with a
and after they come out flat and they start sucking, you got to be like, this is because you came out flat. Come out big, and do it. They did in the second half a little bit, but then
third quarter got it. Got in there and then had to settle for a field goal that we missed. And so this is
must win.
Is this Old Dominion game a must-win game?
Must win. It is a must-win game, and guess what? Good news. We're winning.
We're going to win
this game. We're winning this game.
Veyer is
going to shut the podcast down for this week. We have
Veyer is going to tear them apart. He's got to be frustrated.
His birthday was yesterday. He's a year older. He's more wise. He's prepared.
Every other week was better than we played against TDS. Literally every other week we played better than we played against TDS. So I'm pretty sure, maybe that was the I always like to say this. I guess that was like us getting socked in the nose, and just being like, okay, we gotta show up to these games to freaking win it. I hate that it was a TDS game that was the punch in the nose, but it is what it is.
We hadn't been playing like the team we'd been the past couple of weeks. I mean, I'll give TDS great. You won the game, but we weren't ourselves, and it wasn't you that was doing it. We were doing it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. You're not wrong at all. I hate having to say something like that or whatever because that's kind of their thing. It's like, oh no, our coach was checked out or this happened or whatever happened. That's you didn't beat us, we beat ourselves.
Freedom flew away or something.
But this is the one week where we did not see improvement. We regressed the highest magnitude.
Yeah,
we had seen improvement in each of the games, and granted, it only been 3, but still, I don't know. I think that this is a must-win game for bowl eligibility because if you don't win this game, I don't know where you find 4 other wins on the schedule. Easy,
it's definitely
easy wins.
Tough.
I mean, ESPN. ESPN only has this. ESPN has this as a.
Go ahead.
ESPN has this as a only a 50.3% chance of winning this game. The line opened at, if I'm not mistaken, at 4 point Georgia State's. It's down to 1.5. This is literally a pick 'em. This is ESPN and Vegas saying we've got no clue what's going to happen in this game. You look out to the rest of the season. The only other game they have us favored in is the game hosting Arkansas State, which I don't know why that game's an anomaly. They have UConn 80% chance of beating us. We're not in, according to ESPN's little predictions, which don't mean it anything to anyone, but they don't have us in any other games. We're just getting blown out in all these games, and it's just weird. So we have got to win this game if we want to have any chance of being able to do something the rest of the season, because JMU's putting up 5,000 points a game. Coastal hasn't really dropped off, and that's our last game. What I don't want to deal with that. Appy State, we don't know if that game's going to even happen. If that game doesn't happen, that's a win you can't get.
It's true. Or if for some crazy reason they play it at App State, which I don't think is likely, that game they will be so amped up. Like we just don't even get off the bus. They're just gonna run us over.
Do they have a game this weekend? And what are they doing?
They're at Marshall. They're at Marshall, and they will be playing that game. They've been practicing as if they're playing that game. The stadium was fine. The stadium wasn't hit or didn't get flood damage or anything.
Yeah.
It's fine. So they've been able to practice, but it's unknown if they're going to be able to host a game. And honestly,
infrastructure
it's not. Yeah, even if they could, do they do a COVID game where they don't allow any fans and the players just play the game? That sounds like a horrible idea because you're still bussing in 60 guys plus staff and crew and crap like that. You don't need to bring in one additional person that's not there to help the efforts, right?
Right.
Then you could play like we talked about last week. You could play at Wake Forest. You could do the game here. I mean, Charlie Cobb, being big Appy guy he is, I would assume he'll bend over backwards to do whatever it takes to make that game happen and make it feel good for them, which is fine. I'm okay with that.
I'm supportive of bending over backwards to do it.
I'm not. Did you see? Oh no, they Appy played at Marshall last week. Sorry, I don't know who they're playing. I think maybe they're off this week or something. I'm not sure exactly, but they played at Marshall this past week, and Marshall played App State's fight song for them. The band played it at the game, which was pretty classy. Yeah, classy thing. So yeah, but so
they're at Lafayette.
They're at Lafayette.
We're getting some good food at least.
They hang out with Jerry now, but that's
Jerry's
all right.
World. Yeah,
but you talk about it, if for some reason we do play that game up there, that'd be like the Falcons and the Katrina game all over again when the Falcons had to go down to New Orleans and play the Saints on night TV and just
I mean, it was like I remember that watching that game. I was like, could we just mercy roll ourselves or just walk off the field? Like, this is horrible.
There was no winning that game. Like going into that game, there was no winning it. They were not going to allow that to happen.
No.
So, but all right, Ryan, what about you? What is this a must-win game against Old DU? Old DU.
Old DU.
I like that. David, how'd you do that? Alcohol.
Yeah, slurring words, speaking in cursive.
Old DU.
Yeah, I mean we've had this game circled for a while as like the easiest one on our schedule this year,
like we did last year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. But like if you can't come out and show up for this one, then I think it shows that you've got some real problems. And if you beat Vandy and you lose against ODU, I think that shows that you got some real problems. I mean, consistency has to happen. And one of the big problems with Georgia State teams in its history has been a lack of consistency. We show up for crazy games and then, wet the bed against ODU.
Right.
Kennesaw, whoever, So
yeah. I think this game is the type of game where we find out what kind of coaching chops that Del McGee really has, because if we blow them out, we win convincingly, then all is right in the world. We can just brush off Trash Down South as the young boys that play this game.
No, he's in the hot seat for the rest of the year because of that game.
But the young guys were not able to get over that SEC win or whatever happened. I don't know what it was. But if it's a close game, if it's a game we win, but it's close, or it's a game we lose, God forbid, it's a game we get blown out ourselves. I mean, I'm gonna have serious questions about whether or not he actually is, the type of coach that we expected him to be. I mean, he looks like a fantastic recruiter, but you lose to ODU, how many of these top 25, this 2025 recruits start second guessing about whether or not they want to come here? We're first in the conference right now. They start seeing us, that Vandy thing helped a lot. But you lose to Trash, and if you were to lose to Old DU, I did it again.
Old DU.
Old DU. That should be like their name of their beers, like Old Do. Old Do is their name of their beer. Old Do. No, with the apostrophe, Old Do. Yeah.
If you lose to them this week, you got the short week going to Marshall. I mean, that doesn't sound very fun either. Then you're potentially 0-3 in the conference, and at that point, it's kind of over.
Then you're spoiler. Then you're Mr. Spoiler,
Right.
and you're just going in against every team you're playing, and you're like, I'm just going to ruin you. I'm going to keep you from making into the East Championship or East Division champ or whatever it is. So I don't think it was interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim. Go.
No, it's like there probably is no chance to be the spoiler for CFP because I think pretty much all the Sun Belt's out at this moment.
Yeah, it would take something monumental for the SBC champion to be ranked ahead of whatever the Mountain West champion is going to be.
Yeah,
which is likely Boise or American with I guess Memphis is still undefeated. Do they have Florida State this week? I think they have Florida State this week. I think they're at Florida State.
Do they?
Yeah, I think they're at Florida State. Yeah. But the one interesting thing I saw from McGee's presser today, he was talking about the importance of this game and being about how we have 4 road games following this, and I'm like, I thought coaches only looked the next week. They had no idea who their future opponents were, but he knows for a fact that we have 4 games. What?
Well, and he would like us to think that too, because he keeps saying, "Oh yeah, no, we're just on to the next one." Like, "Oh yeah, we don't care we beat Vandy. We're on to the next one."
Yeah. I think we win this game. I really do. I believe we win this game. I'm as confident as you are, Tim. But just the thought of not doing so just has me like, damn it, scared. It's another Georgia State season where we just get our hype up and just.
We're gonna win.
I think we win. So
I don't care what Vegas says or ESPN FPI.
And then we're back on track too. When we win, we just win out as well, right?
No, if we win, the computers will start to like us again.
Yeah, one win will start putting. But then, like Ryan said, you got Marshall in a short week. I don't know what's going to happen there. And then we still have no idea about Appy, UConn. They don't like us against that team. Jimmy Madison's garbage, or garbage for us.
Jimmy Madison's going to put 90 on us. So.
So we got to score 91. All
they're
right.
They're gonna have the Cumberland score. They're gonna score 223.
I don't know where we had that game beforehand, but I don't think we can outscore Jimmy Madison.
No, I don't know how
it's
they're
the
doing
way they're playing right now. But they lost to Monroe. They only scored 19 points.
Turns out Monroe's good. I don't know.
That's my new favorite team in the West.
Yes, that's right. It turns out Monroe
figured
something out.
I was talking
just
about
do everything.
No, I was talking about the friends. I'm like, we always get them backwards. Which one's in the swamp and which one's not? And I'm like, they're really just both in the swamp. Forget.
Yeah, Louisiana is a swamp.
Yeah, so. the entire state is either a swamp or like the edge of a swamp. So, yeah. I think Lafayette's the further one away, and Monroe's the closer one. Because my thought process, I'm probably wrong. I don't even know why I even try to talk about it.
In my head, I think Louisiana is like deep within a swamp, and Monroe is kind of out in the prairie somewhere. But I think it's wrong.
Yeah,
I think it's completely the reverse, or like Monroe's in the northeast part of the state. I don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it's all swamp, dude.
I look it up all the time, especially after these episodes. I'll look it up and then I just forget immediately what it is. But I feel like I always thought Lafayette was the closer one to like Baton Rouge and New Orleans, but that's always wrong. I don't know. So I made a comment about Marshall being classy and playing the fight song of Appy State last week, but I'm looking at the score. They also hung 52. They hung 52 points on Appy State as well.
Yeah, well,
52.
What are you expecting to lose?
I mean, I don't expect them to lose, but man, 52. Granted, Appy did put up 37. They're still a good team, but they put 52 points on a team that had soggy socks going to the field.
Appy's defense this year is definitely cost them a lot of games. They're not anywhere near as good as any other App defense. So, and their fans are pissed at their new head coach, newish head coach. They kind of want him gone. I've read in different little posts here and there. I'm like, man, everyone jumps all over these coaches too fast. Although we were ready to jump on our coach
as a joke.
TDS.
As a joke.
But I mean, he's really he's on the hot seat. Like he's about to.
Oh, Ryan's already putting.
He's definitely on.
Ryan's put McGee in the hot seat.
Ryan did that at the game.
He's definitely. Well, you got to beat TDS. Dude, I mean, like if we're not as fans, if our expectation isn't that like you beat TDS or you're on the hot seat. Like, are they even a rival? I don't like
Are they a rival? I don't know.
TDS. Absolutely, we call them
Of course they
TDS.
are.
They're our biggest
And-
rival. We hate those people.
It's
No
what
matter
they
what
say.
our
They
AD
say it's not a rival, even though it is. Well,
Well,
we're
they're full of
rivals.
shit. We know they're full of shit. So
I have never not cared about a team, beaten them, and then just gone completely crazy on social media talking about how much better we are and how bad they suck.
Yeah, we love winning against them and really hate losing. They're a
Yes.
rival because they're a rival.
Man, that was the thing. That was what was driving me crazy watching that Vandy game. It's like, 'cause I want this like transitive thing, whatever. I'm like, anything I say.
Can't do it.
And then somebody, I think it was like the Sunbelt Georgia, not Sunbelt, the Sidelines Georgia account or one of those accounts, whatever. They put the whole transitive thing down and they had just, trash down South, beat State, blah, 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 beat Georgia. And they said, is Georgia Southern the best team in the state or the country? They actually said country, best team in the country.
Ugh,
And I was like,
vomit.
Boise State beat Southern. Like there you go. If you're gonna do this, let's take it all the way back. Boise State's the best team. They have the leading Heisman candidate too. So
Well, it would be Tech at that point, wouldn't it? Because they beat us and they have a better record. Than, Yeah, maybe not any of them. Maybe it is Boise. I don't know. This transitive thing. That's why transitive only works one out. That's why
one deep. It works one deep. We're better than Bama. Trash is better than Vandy. That's all it is.
Man, that shit came out so fast after Vandy won. It was like less than a minute.
Everybody was sitting on tweets. Everyone was sitting on tweets and posts and everything. They're like, oh, because I know I was. And I was like, oh, just got to hold out before I post this. Let's see. Are there any other good games this week? Coastal at Jimmy Madison.
No.
Yeah, so no. Southern Miss is at Monroe. Southern Miss is garbage.
Who are my Warhawks beating this week? Are they
Warhawks? Southern Miss. They're beating Southern Miss at home.
That's not even. I mean, they're gonna trounce them.
Yeah. All right. Tailgate. What are we doing with the tailgate for this game? We didn't talk about that at all.
I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I.
Freight Line, Old Dominion, Lions,
Truck stop food,
chicken wings.
No, we already did that.
I'm gonna mail it in probably. I may have to buy something to bring or whatever because I have I'll be riding.
You could
three deep with my kids.
You could do a very fun family project to make the tailgate food with your kids.
It's just, you can tell who doesn't have kids. There's nothing fun with your kids, like nothing. You plan some kind of fun.
True.
You try to plan some kind of fun thing. Oh, this will be fun. We'll get to do their favorite thing, whatever, and it turns into them yelling at you and telling you that you never do anything right. And I'm like, well, I know because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But anyhow,
it's weird how much they don't give a shit when you plan the thing.
Oh, dude, the one that I get. So I've got 4 sisters. All half sisters, but 4 sisters. I didn't grow up with any of them. My oldest tells me that I told her, if you leave out your toys, your younger sister and brother will destroy them. And she yells at me that I don't know her life because I never grew up with siblings. And I thought siblings was a big word for a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
But I went along with it. And I was like, I have 4 sisters. Like, but you didn't live with them. Okay. But I also know that if you leave Legos out in front of a 2-year-old, that 2-year-old will smash those Legos. So,
or eat them.
There's also that.
Sometimes that.
Yeah. All right. We're really getting off base here. This is a short episode, but I don't really have any. Oh, no, we have the one thing to talk about. The prudent. My God.
Rudy?
The Rudy Project.
Rudy.
The Prude Bowl.
Old Prue. Old
Prue.
Look. Whatever you think about Prue, don't put this.
I wasn't talking about Prue.
Don't put this evil on him.
He's definitely not old. He's young.
Don't put this evil on him.
I wasn't talking about
super fresh meat.
No. So Rudy Project, was it announced today? Was it announced yesterday, or it came out? Whatever.
It kind of got. I mean, there were rumors about it, but today there was an actual article all about it.
We should call it Disney's plan for
ruining college football.
For college football. Yeah.
Ruining college football.
Yeah, Disney's plan for college football.
God, they're the worst.
And if you know anything about Disney and what they do to things like Marvel and things like Star Wars, then maybe you don't want them in college football.
They don't have the best track record when they start getting their dirty fingers in there into everybody else's business. But just for anyone that hasn't listened or heard about it yet, the Rudy Project is effectively the P4 doing a scheduling alliance and getting big money, a separation from the rest of the G5. It's the top 70 teams, which
I think is crazy. 70
you do the math,
freaking teams.
There's 68 teams in what's considered the P4 right now. So you figure they add Notre Dame and then obviously Georgia State, and then you have your 70 teams that they're talking about, and they'll just play their own thing. And I think they were talking to the commissioner of the ACC in the article that you sent over to him, and he said, this works well because the conferences still have their autonomy while they can keep the teams together, all that kind of crap. I'm like, but all the money's gonna be the same. The money's gonna be the same for everybody. All 70 teams get the same money. Is that not what it said? Did I read that wrong? It says all 70 teams.
They all get equal shares of.
So I'm like, all right, cool. So now, why is California gonna stay in the ACC?
I would leave. I'd be like,
so you're gonna have some kind of like shuffling of what is the P4 back into a Western Coast conference of at least a few teams.
That's a perk, I suppose, right?
Yeah,
you actually have some regional divisions.
But if they're all getting paid the same, then it doesn't make any sense for teams for conferences to stretch out over large distances.
Yeah, maybe just divvy them out into divisions within this Rudy Project thing.
Right. They could just realign into whatever they want to. I mean, I will say it was freaking weird to watch the Cal Miami game. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Cal's in the ACC. They showed us some image of the Miami Hurricanes like equipment truck. It's like 34 hours of driving.
Yeah.
To get to Cal.
Yeah, I remember seeing some post or tweet or whatever, and they're like, it was like on a Wednesday, and it's like Miami's been driving for 1,200 miles and still are not there yet. Yeah. Well, no,
we should join.
How did you not remember that Cal's in the ACC? Because there's that sign on the connector, like why not Cal, like right across from Tech. There's a big, huge billboard, just why not Cal?
I try to ignore those things. I don't know.
What is Calgorithm, other than just like a word they use for Cal? You know what I'm talking about?
Don't know what you're saying.
No, but
they keep on using the word. They keep on using the word Calgorithm for California for Cal or whatever. I don't know. All right.
Because they're smart.
So this happens if the Rudy Project happens,
we're fucked.
There's a definite split. Thanks, Tim. Definite split in FBS football, and so you've got effectively, your cream of the crop, a mid-major, and then you've got your FCS.
And just to clarify to folks, and this is the biggest problem with this entire plan, is that it would basically be an agreement not to play G5 programs as well, G5 period. Or FCS. We would be cut off from playing P4, P5 games.
We'd all lose our money games.
We would always forward. Georgia State would always have that 1-0 victory over Vandy, and they would never be able to get that repeat game.
Well, what they're doing basically is saying that no team that is in the out group right now will ever be able to come into the in group, unless there are exceptions made and it grows and whatever. But like we're starting over as like basically an FCS, and that we would be playing for something that we would create for ourselves, which I would assume would be
our conference brethren would get what they want. The G5 playoff.
G5 playoff, G5 top 25, all that kind of stuff. But effectively what it really is the bigger programs become the NFL, FBS becomes, or what's the G5 become the top of college football, and then the FCS is 1AA or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the question is then, with all this money going out to these 70 teams, how much money is left over for the G5 programs, and are there teams that are able to keep up with that and keep their programs running? Monroe runs on a shoestring budget. compared to what all the other teams in the Sun Belt and G5 are doing. Does the G5 contract and now you've got less teams because they can't keep up? Do programs shut down altogether because it's not even worth the effort? It's going to have like a huge waterfall effect on the G5 teams and the conferences.
It's a harsh reality. I mean, I'm sure ULM relies on that money game for a big chunk of their budget. And the fact with the settlement thing that went through, I don't know how that'll get affected if they split off and do their own thing. Is the G5 somehow still going to foot the majority of that bill for the P5, even though now we're split? Like,
they'll wait till we cut our check and then they'll do their split. Like, all right, cool, it's been paid. We don't need to worry about that at all.
You guys are dumb. Exactly. Thanks for helping. But yeah, it's gonna be if that happens, it's just gonna be boring.
Like, and here's the deal: is I feel like they're missing like the magic that is what March Madness is in basketball, and that is that somebody can show up as a low seed and make it pretty far into March Madness. They don't usually win for sure, but like, and it is harder in football for that to happen. But you're like completely eliminating any chance, and like let's just inject some chance into there because there's so many people who watch March Madness who don't give a shit about basketball because it's just fun to watch because of that one little thing. And now if it's just Bama versus Georgia versus Oregon versus whoever, like who gives a shit? Like whatever, they're gonna beat up on each other, and like those fans care, but no one else will care.
Yeah, it's yeah. It just the game is. Yeah, I got nothing. We've all seen it coming. We've all seen it coming for a long time, and it's just been steadily getting faster and faster and faster.
I was in denial because
Ryan. I was gonna say, Ryan, you thought we were crazy.
Because it's stupid. It's a stupid idea. It's a bad idea for them.
You guys are dumb. What are you?
Well, I didn't say that. I never said.
The one thing that
you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's not gonna happen.
The one thing that's not happening yet in this, because like Tim, like you said 70 teams is insane, and I agree. So the thing to me is like, there's 68 teams in P4 right now. Notre Dame makes it 69. Ryan,
nice. Whoa, hey yo,
there we go. So they're. I mean, I know this is the wrong time to say the team name, but like at some point you don't want the Vandies in there because like so if let's say there's $100 million to all 70 teams, and like all right, well Vandy sucks all the time. Like if we get rid of them, then there's $102 million to everybody else. Oh, if we get rid of Kansas State, that's $104 million. They're going to get to a point where they start contracting and start kicking teams out or something. You're not gonna. If the whole thing is about making more money, you're breaking yourself off away from everything else. You're not going to stop doing that until you've reached the absolute maximum amount of money that you can make.
What do you do with those teams that get kicked out? Does the G5 shun them and be like, no, we won't let you in our little cool thing?
Could you imagine a team that was getting paid $70 million a year getting dumped into whatever becomes the group of six or whatever we call ourselves?
You just don't let them in. You just kick them out.
They have like all the best resources and everything, but they have none of the players anymore because everybody wants to go get paid millions of dollars to play in the other leagues, and they're like, oh, we can't even. It's going to be like them inheriting Turner Field. Like, oh, we can't even afford the upkeep of our expensive stuff anymore because we used to get paid $70 million a year, and now we're getting $1.5 million.
That'd be a rude awakening for whoever it is.
Well, the best thing that can happen right now is whichever group of 5, group of 6 team gets into the college football playoff this year needs to win.
Yeah,
needs to win. So
get Kirk Herbstreit to say, "See, this is what makes college football great."
No. SEC shorts won't be nearly as good when there's no G5 teams to beat up on the.
Ooh, you're bringing that up?
P4,
How do we not make it in that SEC shorts? That's what I want to understand.
I wanted to be in SEC shorts when we beat Vandy so bad. I watched it, and all they had like a fleeting reference to Georgia State, but they never said Georgia State or anything. They just had like Vandy like putting their finger up their butt or something.
Well, so part of this whole deal is saying that every game will be like a marquee game. Basically, there's not cupcake games right anymore. Blah blah blah. But like, schools are in control of their schedules, right? If they didn't want a cupcake game, they wouldn't schedule it. They just wouldn't do it, right? I mean, but they schedule them because there's value in them. There's value in paying that much money to have somebody come and play you. And so it's sort of like, well, why would you lose that? And why are we going to brag about it? Because if you truly thought it was a plus, you just wouldn't schedule that cupcake game in the first place.
And if they thought that by consolidating down to 70 teams means they're not going to be a cupcake team, whatever, do they not know the NFL has the Jaguars? So
right?
it's like
Titans, Jaguars. That's really the Browns.
The Browns mostly, yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah, Browns historically, yeah. So like, they're still going to be like, you're not going to tune in to. Like, there's not going to have a billion eyeballs on a Georgia versus I don't know. I feel like we can't use Vandy, but it's always the go-to. It's always the go-to one, isn't it? You know,
Wake Forest. Wake Forest.
Yeah,
they're boring.
You're just not gonna. That's not gonna get the same eyeballs that Georgia, Ohio State is. You know, so
yeah. I mean, the big reason I've seen is that the you can't schedule 6 home games for your season ticket holders basically without the cupcake game. And then there is like some like you just need the win is more important than like a quality win type of thing. Like just having a win is more important. But that doesn't go away. So I don't really understand. Or if you wanted that to happen, you could just be like, we're gonna weight these games less. I mean, there are other fixes besides just being like, we're not going to play you anymore at all.
You could allow one game instead of 2, right? Usually they have like they have a cupcake and a lower division game.
But those things would have to apply to all schools within
FBS.
It wouldn't be applied to just the Power 4 conferences.
No FCS anymore. Just drop that shit out.
I do think that it makes no sense for the power conferences to be playing FCS teams at all. No, it doesn't make
none.
And there have been their moments. There's App States over Michigan or whatever that happened 20 years ago.
Right.
We've seen it happen, but and North Dakota State was taking it to whoever it was this year. It happens, but whenever I look at the Georgia schedule and I see that weird Albany team or whoever the hell it is,
Georgia
I'm like
Southern.
Regional Georgia school.
What is this?
It makes me glad that I'm not a UGA fan. I'm like, good. I'm going to watch this garbage game. I like watching 60, 70 points being put up on somebody, but at a certain level, you're kind of like, you start feeling sorry. You're like, stop. What was it? Who was it? Who was Tennessee beating? And they offered to like take the game to a running clock at the halftime or something like that. It was whoever their FCS team was this season. Tennessee had put up 50 points in the first half, and they offered to do a running clock the rest of the game and like not take timeouts or whatever. And the other coach was like, "No." Of course, you've got to say no.
You can't say no. Yes to that.
Exactly. You can't say no.
Honestly, even asking is kind of rude.
It's a bigger D move to even offer that than it is,
Right.
Yeah.
Just if you want a running clock, just run the ball every time.
Yeah, exactly. There are ways you could just do that. And
just take a knee every single play. Take a knee. the way they got Bobby Boucher out of the Mud Bowl.
They got humbled, Tennessee, I guess.
Arkansas
beat them. Yeah. This was a crazy week of upsets all over the place.
There was not a school from Alabama that played on Saturday and won their game.
Wow. Bunch of top 10 upsets too, right? I mean, Miami Cal could have been upset, but Miami somehow came back.
Because of officiating cheating.
Had a little help with the refs again. They failed to review things properly, but
I
don't know. They paid someone off and they paid enough.
All right. Well, next week we'll be getting ready for the road trips. Are we going to do a watch party for Marshall on Thursday next week?
We
Go to Mayonnaise or something like that.
Yeah, we should figure that out.
Yeah.
Let's work on that. Let's work on that this week. So I think with that, we can head over to last call. Tim, you want to take us home?
Sure. Thanks everyone for listening. We're going to take a quick break here, restock our beverages, figure out how not to curse on the main podcast, and head over to last call. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, just join our Patreon anyway, patreon.com/State of Atlanta. You'll get live streaming access, discounts on sweet merch. It's so great. We had astronomical billions and billions and billions of shirt sales.
It was great.
Fact check it. It's real. Group chat action. It's always lively. There's always something to talk about, even at 2 a.m. And we have late breaking news there as well. Adult beverages at the tailgates, as always, and more. Became a fan of the show. I think it's $5, $10, whatever David feels like right now. It's probably $5. We'd love to have you aboard. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys.
Peace.